All right. I got a phone. It's my meeting. I don't know. I think I just began. I love to meet you.
All right, I think we have to stick to our time.
Okay.
When other people come in, they can join. Okay. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome us to this beautiful and wonderful edition of our regular monthly interview segment inside the arena. Today we are on season 39. That's a milestone. And we have today a very, 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 very distinguished Nigerian engineer who has caught his niche in the engineering profession, particularly in the oil and gas sector. He's a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. He's serving currently as vice chairman of PITAN and also of Nigerian Institution of Petroleum Engineers. I don't want to mention everything he represents, his workplace and everything, because that's the essence of this interview. By the time we hit the ball rolling, you are going to know. Many people have been calling me and say, who is engineer Obi Uzu? Today we have inside the arena engineer Obidike Nelkon. And I read a book, Nelkon, Principles of Physics.
I'm not the author of that one.
Engineer Nelkon, Obidike Nelkon Uzu, a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. It's our pleasure to welcome you to today's edition of Inside the Arena. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Before we commence, we would like to just give a little background on the different segments of this program. We have 3 segments. One is what we call the direct free kick, where all the questions are directed to you by the anchor man, that's the host. And after that, we go to the corner kick segment where the participants are also allowed to ask questions. They are going to be asking you questions and which you'll be responding to. And finally, we go to the extra time segment where the questions will also be put to the participants. And today, 3 participants will be going home with 3 fantastic prizes. I can't carry all of them. I know we have an LG microwave oven, and we have a Lonton standing fan, and the final but not the least, this is an Infinix smartphone. So these 3 prizes are going to be won today by 3 lucky winners. So get your biros, get ready as we go straight inside the arena. Okay, in a nutshell, can you tell us about who is, or let me put it this way, who is engineer Obidike Nelkon Ozo, Fnse, and can you share some insight about your birth, your family background, your childhood, or key stages of your education from early school years to your time at the University of Port Harcourt, and of course, at Harvard and also at Cambridge?
Thank you so much. I started from the village. If you want to hear, I was born on 29th of July, 1964, just before the Nigerian Civil War. And I had a feel, or I suffered part of the Civil War impact as well. However, after the war, everybody was trying to recover, mostly in the Southeast, and started primary school very late because of the impact of the war and all that. But I finished primary school in 1979. I can still remember. That's when I entered secondary school, to community secondary school in Bausa, just near my village. And from there, I now finished secondary school and went to Uniport in 1984. As light, I took JAM to read electrical engineering. As time may have it, I went for excursion in Mobile, Eket, thinking my second year, and saw that the people in oil and gas were enjoying more than the people climbing pole. So I decided to switch to petroleum engineering. So being a petroleum engineer is a coincidence, or wasn't intentional originally. So I finished in 1989. And then I finished first degree and did youth service 1990. Then I went back to Uniport again to do a master's, which I finished the coursework earlier, but graduated, I think, 1995 because of demonstration and all the turbulences of university education. Then proceeded after working for a while, did some adult education in Cambridge and Harvard. That's about the education side, including some training, on the job training I got along the line.
What was your childhood like growing up in Nigeria, and how did it shape your worldview and ambition? Did you hear what I
Hello?
said, sir?
Sorry, I can't hear
I
you.
said, what was your childhood like growing up in Nigeria, and how did it shape your worldview and ambition?
My childhood was very small initially. Growing up from the village, I was limited with people I could see within my village and aspirations I could see within my village. One of my uncle read electrical engineering thinking in Soka, was the second person probably that built upstairs in the village. And that inspired me a lot because the other one that read medicine in Russia was struggling to survive. So I just realized engineering could make more money. As an Igbo man, you're looking towards where the money will come from. So that's all I could say about the village. And every other thing, everybody was almost the same in the village. But I was looking forward to how I could be like that, my uncle that built an upstairs. Probably that's my only aspiration as a boy. However, as you move down to the town, you see people that have a car, have a better things, and those inspire you better. And the more you move down to UK, US, you're going to see more other things that will inspire you in life. I think inspiration you draw changes as your exposure changes. So that's the little I could say about my childhood. But in terms of, we are four boys in the house, and one lady who has from my parents. So I'm the last born, and I had been pampered. I was pampered seriously by my mom and my brothers. They look after me very well, and probably that transferred to oil industry. Oil industry have to take over from them to look after me up to this point.
Now, still on your education, during your university days, what were some of the major challenges you faced, and how did you navigate through them?
I will tell you, I entered university early 80s, and that early 80s is the transitional period between socialist system in the university and capitalist system. Let me break it down for you. When I was in year one, we used to buy meal ticket, five naira per ticket, and you buy it per semester. And when you get into the hostel, there is foam, there is bed, there is a little bit of furniture in the hostel. But by year two, the university have started selling the foam and all that. So who wants to sleep on the bed on the foam now will need to bring his own foam. And some of the social welfare systems in the university were going away. People will need to buy it themselves. And things like handout syndrome came in. And those are kind of disruptions I saw as a student. Apart from that, I had other challenges where a lot of disruption of school calendar by demonstration and protests between the military era, which affected a lot of school calendar years. People who could have done 3 years ended up 4 or 5 years because of those demonstrations, because the demonstration from the political class extended to the universities. They were using students and all that to help put pressure on the military for that transition to happen. However, as a person, I had a very difficulty. The university system I experienced was a lot of theoretical stuff with handout and all that. So it was more of people who could cram a textbook or handout made a lot of impact compared to people who could think for themselves, because there wasn't too much material to research on what you need to do. However, just cram the handout given to you and vomit it at the end of the semester. That will fetch you an A or B. If you understand what it's all about or not, it's a different thing altogether. That's the kind of early educational background I had.
Did you have any challenges during this education in terms of financing support from your parents?
Honestly, like I told you before, now it has moved to handout program. You need a lot of money to survive, because almost all the courses we need handout, and to buy those handouts is part of the things to pass. And my brothers helped. However, it wasn't sufficient. But nothing is sufficient in life, is to manage. Because I saw other students who were going through the same kind of condition like me. Although there is few that their parents were wealthy, kind of. So it's inequality in the world that always exists in different spheres. Even up to now, there are a lot of students who are still struggling the same kind of fate I had there. So my parents and my brothers mostly, because my father died early, and my mother was is a housewife from the village, so I wasn't expecting much from her. But my brothers somehow helped me through the educational career.
So what you are saying in summary is that, when you draw a line of comparison, you will say that those days were far much better than what we have today in terms of in terms of the quality of our education system or the environment, the learning environment.
When we say yes, the lecturers would then were more dedicated, to be honest, because today, even the lecturers' salaries could not sustain them to live well. They are struggling, talk less of training their own children. So I think the educational system need to be overhauled in a way that the lecturers need to earn a decent living as a career for themselves. Those days, the lecturers was not putting pressure on us to give them money to pass the exam and all that. If you didn't come to class, if you didn't do your assignment, you will fail invariably. People kind of held their ethics and their values more at a higher esteem. I'm not saying 100% those other devices were not creeping in at that point, but it was minimal compared to what I'm hearing today.
We can come back to this maybe towards the end of the program so that we look at maybe in the course of this interview section, we are going to maybe some of the questions may be answered along the line. Now, talking about your experience, how did your early international work experiences in places like UK, US mold your technical and leadership abilities?
Honestly, anybody who have worked in UK or US, we look at the work ethics. It's different. If they say they're going to start off by 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, everybody will clock in by 8 o'clock. And if you clock in 10 minutes after 8, 2 or 3 times, you're going to get a query for it. And people, the staffs or the workers expected to be and doing righteously as stipulated on their contract. Unlike what I'm seeing in Nigeria, what is experienced in Nigeria, the laxity of people here is quite different. And I carried that along. I worked for BJ Services for 12 and a half years. I didn't get query for coming late on that 12 and a half years, or not coming to work in a condition that was not approved. So it's a different thing altogether. So having experienced that in UK, in one of the occasions, my supervisor drove a truck from Leeds to Grangemouth for the BP refinery for a job. And I was in front of the truck with him. I don't see how we can have a supervisor that will agree to drive a truck from Port Harcourt to Warren to do a job today. It doesn't equate, to be honest. And in those specialized working environment, the workers look for improvement on how they do things to get rewarded or get appreciated. You don't just sit down and think you are told to just clean the room and that's it. If you clean it well, it's not your headache. Looking at the end of the month to get your salary. Again, having worked all those places, it gave me extra confidence. When I came back, I commissioned the Obidike gas plant in 1998 or 1999. In fact, on that project, the company that constructed it, a French company, refused me to be the project engineer for the commissioning. They said that our company then asked for an expert. Now they're bringing a Nigerian. So then their own perception of expert is skin color, not even on brain. So, and I told them, if you're bringing an expert, I will go because I have done this in UK and nobody queried me. How come you're going to query me in Obagi in Port Harcourt? So on that, they realized I was dragging the case to racism and they allowed me. And I finished that project handsomely, and that plant ran for many years. It's only that doing the shutdown now. That's to show you, if given the opportunity, engineer is an engineer. It's not based on skin color. It's not based on religion or anything. It's based on the values and the improvement you can bring on the table as an engineer. And those are the things.
Before we go to the area you have, so that I don't lose track of that. You know, you mentioned something during the work ethics in the United Kingdom, where you have to clock in at the time you are supposed to clock in. Because I remember vividly a certain governor of Enugu State who came in from the United States to become governor. And then he discovered that during the work hours, during the time anytime he was driving around the street, he would discover that most of the civil servants were still on their way work, maybe around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So he was wondering what was going on. So one morning he went to the federal secretariat before 8 o'clock, and once it was 8, he asked them to lock the gate. And everybody that came after 8 was sacked. So he sacked them. There was protests. You know, he defended it. He said he came from a system where once it's 8, you must be at your place of work. And the same thing happens. Sorry to say that if you use Abuja as a case study, if you go to the streets of Abuja, major roads, by 8 o'clock, by 10 o'clock, we are still seeing people who are going to work. And once it's around 1 o'clock, I don't want to mention any ministry, if you go to their car parks, you see people already queuing to enter the bus. The bus will leave around 4, but they're already closed, they are shut down, they are waiting. They wait at the bus terminal, bus stop, waiting for the bus. Once it's 4, they will leave. So I don't know why that is like that here. Because on several occasions, I've been to several countries, when Nigerians go out of the country, they conform to these rules in those countries. They queue, they do everything the way it should be done. But immediately we are getting to our airport, just here, and you say queue, nobody wants to queue. Everybody begins to do things that I don't want to call it Nigerian way, because it shouldn't be Nigerian way. So what do you think is the cause of this? And how do we address this?
It's a social impact. We've derailed too far to the left. You know, it's a, when you get to Rome, you behave like Romans. So we have now been behaving differently from the normals. You know, you could realize the military administration during Idi Agbo and Buhari got to a point they got pissed off with this kind of attitude that this will lead us to nowhere. They decided to put war against indiscipline. You remember? So
Yeah.
we have identified this as a very big vices in our life. It's not about coming late only. It's about attitude to work. It's about ethics, your values. When somebody brings a document for you to sign, which is your normal job, you're looking for gratification to do what you're paid to do. I can't stay here and enumerate how far we've drifted to the left. Unfortunately, it has impacted our growth. It has impacted our perception. It has impacted our values in many ways. You know, at a point, I was in a church last Sunday. Somebody says, we are having this kind of discussion. The boy said he just wants to make money. I said, if all you needed is money, if you make money, what next? You know, so today we are on a society that is on a rat race. Everybody is chasing money without bothering the effects on the larger society. Sometimes there is a little hold up. Somebody will like to go one way. not bordering, the effect of him blocking the road for other people who will go through that same system. Everything has gone wrong within us. It's just for us all to see this and agree there should be a change. The federal government is doing national orientation stuff. I don't know how far that will go because we've drifted too far. Even the airport you are talking about, by the time the man comes in from UK or US, anywhere, once he lands at the airport, he wants somebody who will take him across the immigration to the front so that he hand his passport. That's how he feels he's an important personality in the society. Even on people will pay police to escort them, be on escort, pick up at the front and the back. They stay in the middle. So if there is traffic, they can go one way and go free and violate the traffic law. All of us agree to put in place. So I am not going to be, I'm not the apostle. I can stay here and tell you how far we have gone and how we should come back. It's difficult. Reverend Father Bishop Kika made those comments yesterday or day before yesterday during Honorable Ihedioha's 60th birthday. I don't know. Everybody is aware of how differently or how far we have drifted, but how to come back to the straight line that will take us to the promised land, nobody is working on that. So that's the difficulty we are.
The discussion will continue. We cannot exhaust all of them today. Okay, let's go back to your days in BJ services. I believe that must have, been a major career shift for you. What challenges did you face and how did you rise to become the country manager?
The thing I think is can-do spirit is what I have had. I didn't get a job after 4 or 5 years of graduation, and that gave me a lot of emotional trauma. If you know what it takes to be a graduate without a job, because as a graduate, there is a lot of things you thought you passed. But I find myself into such a situation. And when I eventually got a job, I want to do it better. I want to be better off. I want to excel. I want to work harder than every other person, And based on that, BJ identified that. BJ saw that zeal, that determination, that hard work, that trust in me, and that has accelerated my promotion. Within 4 5 years, I joined the company. I became from trainee to the country manager pipeline. You can imagine that. And that was purely an expert company. The people who was running it on the top affairs at that point were all experts from UK, US, and other. So it was, the merit was counting at that time and probably counting up to today in such multinational company. What I could see is when you are working in an organization and you didn't come to work for 2 days, nobody call you on phone and ask you how they want to do this, where this is done, how this is, where it is. No, you are not too important in that organization. That's the easiest. It's a barometer for you to test if you're important or not. So you should be able to create that importance in an organization for yourself. Not trying to protect position. No, create that important position. There is a time you get so important, they don't have anything to do with you. Even if they don't like you, they just want you to be there because of the efficiency you're bringing to that system at that point in time. So that's what I can tell you that propelled me to that level. Because I can't imagine any other thing. then the value I created was difficult to replicate it with somebody else. So they have to now accommodate me or accelerate my promotion. In fact, after like 3 months, I joined the company, I was sent to UK. You can imagine, for training. And that's the first time I traveled overseas in my life, So, and other ones are stories. And if both in UK and other, they really, really appreciated my zeal and my determination to succeed. And I had a very fantastic career with my former company. They were very, very kind to me, and I did very well for them because I increased their revenue from almost nothing to $18 million per annum business. Things they didn't know it was there. So there's nobody who will not keep such a staff.
No. In the year 2009, you made a bold move by co-founding the Global Process and Pipeline Services Limited. What was going through your mind at that time, and what risk did you have to take?
Okay. In 2009, I will tell you what helped me. That was when General Obasanjo was talking about, good look, I can't remember, was talking about this local content. Obasanjo was, this local content law.
Nine was
Is
Yaradua.
President Goodluck.
Okay.
Yes, it was President Goodluck, sorry, about mixed up. So 2009 is the local content law become on the front burner that we need this law in place. And before then, I had been a country manager for 8.5 years, being responsible for almost 90% of all the job the company was executing. So I just asked myself, what am I doing here? What is holding me down? If I'm going to be the person who will go and source for this job, why can't I find a way to get the equipment and do the job myself? Because I realized the experts that was working with me then was earning very fat salary. Some of them were staying at the staff house in Ikoyi with a cook and all that. And I was the person doing the job. So it's like monkey they eat, baboon they enjoy himself.
Monkey they walk.
Monkey they walk, baboon they chop. So those are the kind of thinking that was going through my mind. I said, look, I can do it as well. The company I was working for, when I took early retirement in 2009, felt, where will you get money to buy equipment? How will you set up this? There is a lot of obstacles, entry barriers they identified that will make it very difficult for somebody like me or other Nigerians to get into the oil and gas because of specialized requirement in terms of equipment, skill, and all that. But as luck may have it, we have some soft landing from NCDMB Act enacted in 2010 for us to venture head on with this. But things that I did that made it possible to have a soft landing is to form what we call collaboration. Instead of to go as Obi, Ozo, and Sons, I looked around and saw some other young men and women who have the same skill, who have the same urge, who have the same chemistry, and they joined me in the journey to the promised land. That's how we got to this place. That way I hedged the risk. I can scale up with the collective support and resources, and and the contact as well. When it's only you, maybe 10 people or 20 people. But when 3 of you are there, like 30 people. So it became very easy for us to penetrate the industry. And with the relationship we build and all that, it becomes the easiest thing I have done in my life. But some people saw it as a very difficult thing. And I put it to them. They made it possible for us to get to this point. The men and the women that work for Global Process and Pipeline are the real actors. I am only like Moses leading them to the promised land.
Still talking about today, let me shorten it. GPPS has become a celebrated brand in Nigeria in the oil and gas industry. Now, for those of us who are still trying to take that leap, what do you consider the turning point in his journey to continental and global recognition?
The turning point is where we started before, ethics. We haven't taken any job scope we are not competent in doing. Even something we've realized is a potential to make big revenue tomorrow, we will sit down and think deeply. How do we venture into this territory? What are the obstacles? What do we need? And close those gaps we've identified. Because problem we have in Nigerian business is people are chasing money. They're not chasing brand. They're not chasing competency. They're not chasing reputation. That's the biggest problem we have today. You see people, they will even agree that they can build a nuclear plant when they have not seen how power plant work. So I am very, very worried that if you can stay within your commitment, deliver things you've said you're going to do, and you build a brand. And if you build a brand, the brand will sell itself with ease. Look at advert on the television. Do you see more of Coca-Cola? No. No. All the Coca-Cola customers knows how it tastes. They knows where to buy it. They know how it is. And Coca-Cola have been in existence for almost 400 years. They are not brewing beer. They're not brewing whiskey. They're not brewing brandy. They are only in this beverage drink. That's all they do. And they have made a strong name. People can build something looks like Coca-Cola. It cannot be Coca-Cola. You say if it is not Panadol, it's not going to be like Panadol. So for me, I think building brand will take us to the next level. You see how American companies evolved and build a very strong brand. Sometimes they take over the whole world, like Microsoft, Apple, all these ones. So they have stayed in what they are used to. The Apple has not built a car. Apple has not built real estate business or plane. So they are building laptops and tablets and all that. So I think if people can agree to build a brand for themselves and a brand that satisfied customers' need, it will sell. Even if it's a toothpick, you have the best toothpick in the country. We're almost 200 and something million. 20% of that 200 use their toothpick. You still drive SUV. That's how I feel. You can be in everything. Diversification is real. It's good. I'm not against it. But you need to diversify it with probably better competency or equal competency. Not that we know you in road construction. Before we turn our back, you are now drilling oil. That's where the problem, I think, in entrepreneurship and business in Nigeria is lacking. Overseas, there is certification. Before you can move from that your construction to drilling oil, you go through enormous certification for them to know you have built another level of competency in another division. You know, when you see some people's complimentary card, they say general contractor, knows the man is not doing anything.
That's it. That's it. That's interesting. And for those who are just joining us, we have today inside the arena in 39 engineer Obidike Nelkon Ozo Fnse, who is the managing director CEO of Global Process and Pipeline Services Limited. He's a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. We are happy to have him inside the arena. You know, one of the things you mentioned, which is very inspiring, is how you started and bringing on board a team. You know, you said instead of having Obidike and Sons Limited, you know, you have to get others to come on board, which is what we have in many successful organizations outside the country. But unfortunately, in Nigeria, most of the firms, many of us are guilty of that, are built around just one man. And once that man goes, the company goes. So what is your take on that? What's your advice for, especially young professionals or those who are aspiring to build a brand, as you said, a brand? What do you advise them to do, taking from your own example?
Collaboration, partnership, which is important, which I will tell you. But the thing you can use to solve that is a system control. There's what we call system control or domestic control. Let me explain that. Domestic control is when you put your in-law or your junior brother or your cousin or your church member to be in charge of vital component of the company. While system control is when you use a system like SAP and all that, ERP systems or softwares or AI systems to control how things are done and put a structure in place that clearly define processes and procedures for everyone. That way, you have gone halfway on the succession plan. People will build in that culture, understand the system, and can carry on. You know, when I was small, we were learning how to drive. You can't just wake up and take a key and enter motor and drive. They will take you through driving, then you go do tests. Let them understand. If you understand how the road system work, how the code of what they call traffic code it is, until if they finish and you certify the VIO, the real VIO then will now sign. That's how you get a driving license. That is how a company is supposed to function. That's how to drive a company. You don't just wake up, you graduate from university, even if it's Harvard, your father owns the company, you come and think you are going to drive it. You're going to crash it. So I think when a system, a company has a system, a well-defined system, very robust system and all that, when you join, it will take you time to study how that system works. 4 or 5 years, you start moving. And by the time you get to understand how the system works end to end, you can manage it and it will be successful. And even if the old man dies, other people will not see that difference. I don't want to mention names, but you can see those ones happen. The ones that work well, the ones that didn't work well within our own environment. It is very key that what drives that transition should be a system left in place to be studied, and the people that studied it to be able to drive it. Thank you.
All right. Now, talking about your career, have you ever had, have there been moments when you thought of giving up? Then what kept you going during these toughest seasons?
If I would say giving up is the time I told you I was looking for a job when I finished school, I couldn't get a job. But since I got a job, I have never had cause to think of giving up. And giving up to where? This is what I've signed for myself. I didn't sign to be a musician. I signed to be an engineer, and I've been doing engineering work. I can't give up now or anytime to go do something again. What I have been inspiring me or pushing me is to do better in what I do. That's all I could say. I haven't had any misfortune because most of the time on what we do, we take more time to study it very well, understand the risk involved, understand the peculiarity of what we want to do, understand the challenges, understand what we need to do to overcome those challenges. If you do what we call it in our field, in our field, is front-end engineering, you know, find those things that could limit you to achieve what your desired objectives are. So, and eliminate them or find the way to overcome them. So that's what we are doing and we continue doing. Those, when you call it challenges, we call it obstacles we are going to overcome. So if you find out the things you cannot overcome, you avoid it. Like if you give me a contract now to build um, um, aeroplane, honestly, I will avoid it because I've not built one before and I'm not competent in doing it. That's the kind of systems we operate. Do the things you know you will do very well and avoid the things you cannot do very well so that they will not use it to damage your brand or the names you've made for yourself.
Talking about brand again, your organization has been competing with international giants and also other indigenous, companies. So how did you position your company to win the trust of your clients?
I didn't position the company. The client positioned the company themselves. When I don't know, you have a very fine cloth you are wearing, and it's very nice with all the designs. So, how did you find this tailor? And this tailor had been sewing this cloth for you for probably many years because a lot of other people have commented on it positively, like I've done now. So what happened is that your growth as a company is from the satisfaction of the customers. It's the customer that got satisfied, and he will extend the word of mouth to other potential customers, and that's how you expand. That's how you grow. So we started with one IOCs. The IOCs, we are very, very satisfied. They don't even want to don't think about any other thing. They gave us what we call service agreement. Say we don't want to go through bidding or contract, so we don't get contaminated people who cannot deliver on the same level. Rather, we want to give you service agreement where if we need these services, you bring it, we agreed on how much we're going to pay you. And that has expanded to more than 4 or 5 other IOCs and indigenous producers. So I didn't even go to them. They find me because they find GPPS. GPS didn't go to them. They find GPPS. We are having this problem. We heard that you have the solution. Please come and help us. So we are working with most of these people as partners. That they don't view us as contractors who they can use and dump. No, they want us to stay closer to them. So that's the difference.
Wow. Leave GPPS now and come to another part of your life. How did you join the Nigerian Society of Engineers and what inspired you to join?
I joined Nigerian Society of Engineers precisely in 15th of July, 2007. And what inspired me at that time, they said, look, you can't be a head of any engineering organization if you are not a certified engineer with NSC and Korean. So all of us rushed to go and join before they will refuse us to become a manager. That's the truth. So I was a country manager before I even joined. Then, that's to show you how it's a coincidence of if you don't do this, you're not going to go the next level.
Okay. Now, you're a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and, vice chairman of PITAN and also vice chairman of Nigerian Institution of Petroleum Engineers. What role have professional networks played in your success?
Professional network is a platform to exchange ideas, just like what we are doing now. I'm talking about engineering profession, engineering business, engineering this. And some of the things we have discussed here cost a lot of money in business, Harvard Business School and other business schools worldwide. But the participants are getting it for free. So if you continue this, you're going to get a lot of information and insight and this for free. So I got those kind of aspiration, and you're looking at the pairs, what other people have done well, what they have done wrongly. It is on those kind of platform you will have the opportunity to interact. If you leave your own professional level, you're going to go into gossip, because I don't know how Davido become very successful. I'm not in their platform. So it's a different thing. But I will tell you how engineering firms, some of them who are very successful, got it right, like we are discussing all this while. So professional bodies are very, very essential to compare notes and study the trend, what is happening, where the opportunity lies. That's how I see it, because it is from this point I will realize NCDMB, what they're doing, what they will require to go forward. It is these professional bodies that excavate the requirements and how they are satisfied for the statutory requirement and certification requirement as well.
Talking about mentorship, let's talk about mentorship now. How do you approach mentoring, and what advice do you give young engineers trying to build relevance?
Mentoring is like imitation. You need to have somebody that inspires you. You need to have a career that inspires you. You need to have a roadmap where you are going. So you look at people who have passed through that road and study them. Sometimes it's not even direct. You must go and meet this person. You need to follow antecedent of this person and know exactly what he has done right, what he has done wrong, the challenges he has come, how he overcome those challenges and all that. That's a kind of mentoring, a role model kind of for what you want to be. That's what I see. It's very, very important. You must aspire to be something before you can get there. For those who are politicians, you want to be a president, you want to be a governor, you want to be a senator, you must see how do you queue into the line to go to that point. Because you just come, since I have not had your name in any of the billboard in Abuja, when I saw you, anytime I see your name now as a contestant for president, you say, well, this is not a serious person. Let's be sure of the people we are sure who are going there. We have a pool of people who are heading towards that direction. So there's a kind of aspiration of how you want to go and who are people going there and who you want to follow. Thank you.
All right. Now, what has been your greatest lesson from personal or professional failure? And how did you transform, and how did it transform you?
Greatest lesson is consistency and transparency. That has heavily, heavily transformed me. You know, whenever people can trust you on what you told them or you are telling them you are going to do, it will help. It goes a long way because there's a lot of uncertainty in everything. But trust is the biggest thing people hold on to have hope. You know, I got to this point based on trust. Some of these people I told you that join with me, collaborate me, trusted me, I will deliver. And that's how I'm leading them. People that put in their money when we started trusted me. I'm not going to run away with their money, and I delivered. So that is how you are seeing the result of that today. And inside me too, I want to fulfill my commitment, like I started with. So it's very, very important. Somebody was saying you want to hammer. And, you know, somebody will just get some money, say you want to hammer. I say, for me, all you're hammering is 1-inch nail. For me, I want to hammer 6-inch nail. I'll be patient to hammer 6-inch nail. You know, for carpenters, to hammer in 1-inch nail is less time, 5 seconds than compared to hammering 6-inch nail. So be patient and go with your values. Credibility and integrity count when everything is lost.
Be patient. Go with
Yes.
your values. That's a very good one, I must say. Now, you have accomplished a lot of things in your life, including, your inclusion in the Forbes. You won the Forbes Award and, other things. And, looking at your life is a kind of a compendium of a journey of a man who started from nothing to, you know, something, to global recognition. And most of the guests we've had inside the arena, one of the questions we have always asked them is about documenting their life story, because we believe that this will be a sort of inspiration for many young ones. Many of them who we've had, some who have already written, books about their lives, like engineer Dr. Ede James Amana, whose history autobiography was titled Surgeon of Providence. And we also had others who have also dropped names of what the books about their lives will be. And then we want to ask you, one, have you written a book about your life? If not, when you write, what is going to be the title of that book about your life?
Thank you so much. And you've preempted what I have already done. I turned 60 last year, July. And I put these things together because, like we said, we're heading towards the station. You don't know when the train will come and you leave. So it's better you leave this kind of records behind for other people to read. I had my autobiography. It's called Abatofo. It's selling very heavily on Amazon.
Say it again, please.
Abatofo.
Abba?
Yes, A-B-A. Abatofo.
To
Tofo, yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, so if you Google it, you will see, if you put on Google Abatofo, you will see that book. It's extremely inspiring, mostly to the younger people. And it's chronology of my life from birth to where I am today. About to FOB, yes. From about to FOB, that's correct. That's from about to FOB. That's my autobiography. So it's inspiring book. It's not going to talk about the riches. I haven't gotten much yet, but it's going to talk about inspiring story of faith, values, and destiny. You know, you look at that is critical to me. The values you are carrying, like we've been talking all this while, and the faith. Some of these things are the glory of God. You never can say, I didn't know how I got here. I'm like a leaf that's fallen off from the tree. You can't decide which part of the soil you will fall on. Grace, glory, and Almighty God detected where I will fall. And that's how I ended here. Myself, I can't even tell you, pinpoint precisely, this is what brought me to this level. I can only say it's only grace of God that brought me to this level. I can't take that for granted. And I will continue saying that anywhere I find myself so that the name of God will be glorified for that merciful miracle in my life.
Wow. In fact, I'm feeling nostalgic because looking at the name of this book, and I am just thinking of the impact and the kind of influence it will have on young people who came from where you are coming from. Who, when they open this book, just the name of the book, that they can move from point A or from point zero to the highest point they can imagine in their lives. That is a very fantastic, you know, um, title. And I wish I will also request for a copy of that book so that I will also read that book. Those are the kind of things I like to read. And there was one of our very senior engineers whose title of book he proposed was An Engineer Without Borders. Maybe I will recoin it after this event. I can also, I'm thinking of if I could say from Macaulay Boys. I don't want to mention where he comes from. From Macaulay Boys to the presidency. I know he will be chuckling when he hears this. But so many things are coming into my head. Anyway, that's inspiring. As we conclude, outside engineering, you are involved in music, social clubs, philanthropy. How important is it for engineers to have a balanced life?
Actually, engineers are very, very stressful life, career to be. So it is very, very important to find things that relax you, not thinking about the Y, the X all the time and the things that comes with it. So I am a benefactor of Nigerian Society of Engineers and Nigerian Society of Music today, the Museum Center in Lagos. And I belong to a lot of social clubs. One of them is Metropolitan Club in Victoria Island, which is affluent club, as well as Ikoyi Club and Python Club of Port Harcourt to play golf. I play golf a lot. That's my greatest hobby. Apart from engineering, is playing golf is one thing that excites me so much. I feel very, very excited when I get into the course. Sometimes you play well, sometimes you don't play well, but in most cases, you will enjoy the exercise, which is something you're not going to miss on a golf course. And in a golf, you're going to see a lot of your mates, your friends, people going through the same kind of condition you find yourself. And it's been very, very helpful. is something that helped me like 4 or 5 hours and in a course. I'm not taking a call. I'm not texting at that point. I'm not calculating anything, both money, the people owing me and the people I'm owing. So it has been extremely helpful for me to find that hobby that I love so much.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that golf is that interesting. I play tennis,
I-
but I think we may be taking a look at it again to see if we be joining you or if we are going to be co-opting us inside to join
yes.
you.
No, definitely you will. And the last thing probably I missed from telling you on the philanthropy is giving. I enjoy giving because because of how I arrived here, I looked at it is for a destiny. American says that the hand that give roses always smell nice, and based on that, for the past 15 years, everybody that graduated in 6 villages through which where I came from have benefited every year for the past 15 years. As the years goes by, some graduate, some other new ones come in, and it's something I intend to do for my lifetime. Because if you become a wealthy man, if you buy a Rolls Royce today, in the next 10 years, it's old model, or 5 years, or even or next year. So, but if you invest in a human being, he will change the whole town. One of the occasion, somebody gave me a call. He was in California. He was asking me about my suit size. He wanted to buy a suit for me. I don't know this guy. From where? He said it's one of those ones I trained some years ago. He's doing PhD in quantum physics and cybersecurity in California. So I say, yes, if you plant a good seed, it will germinate and spread. So that's the kind of thing I enjoy doing as well, apart from playing golf.
If I ask you this question, if you could go back to speak to your younger self, just starting out in the industry, what will you say?
My younger self looks like my old one now. If I will start earlier again, I will say that people should be patient. I'm not a patient person, to be honest. I'm a very erratic in terms of I want to get things done. No, 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 no. Somehow it is good, somehow it is bad. It is bad, you can make a mistake. But I think a lot, which has helped me to think what could go wrong first. If I finish thinking, I will want to get that execution done within seconds, so I don't delay in executing what I've thought through, So if I will go back again, I will say, look, I might be a little bit patient because sometimes it hurts some people that work with me. They just feel I am pushing them too fast. But, that's the major flaws I have, How do I slow down? And that has made me, I moved away from operation, move down into sales. So let me be talking to customers. I can talk to them very fast. Let me not push the people operating the engine to get accident.
On a final note, we have a very is a global problem, not just a Nigerian issue, where most young people now, are afraid of taking that bold step. You see many graduates when they come out from the university these days, some want to fly without even crawling. Some, and that's why you see youth indulging in a lot of things because they look at the future, they think there is no hope for them. They believe that the fastest way to make it is either to go into one, vice or the other. But when we look at people like you who endured in the system, you said you stayed 5 years without a job. you didn't give up. If you bring it back to this day, no young man can even endure for a year without a job. The next thing is, what can we do to have quick money? And looking at that and other issues, what is your message for young Nigerians, young Nigerian engineers, some who are facing fear or uncertainty or doubt in pursuing their dreams?
The thing I will tell you, everybody has got a dream. Thank God you call it a dream. You realize there's something you're good at. You need to find what is that. How do you move from where you are towards that which you are good at? In the university, I was good in hydraulics. We had a course in engineering they called engineering hydraulics. And that is like our fluid mechanics. That is one course I was very, very comfortable with, fluid mechanics. And fluid mechanics shows the flow of fluid in a pipe or something, how the fluid behave when they are single phase, double phase, and three-phase flow and all that. And it shows you how to dance around with density, viscosity, and all those parameters. And that's how I could come from petroleum engineering and control this pipeline stuff, which is mechanical engineering field. So there is something you are good at. The only problem, you haven't been able to find what you're good at. You're looking at what could give you money today. Everybody has got something that he's good at. There is one of my friends, he like drawing. He just draw. If he sees you, he will, while we are talking, he will draw you, and people will be doubting if he's photograph and all that. When he finished, he now goes into fine arts. Today, he's into fashion designing. Using that, he will look at you and see the cloth that will match you, and he will match you with his eye before even fitting you. So he has a shop or a company where he bring materials, and they will sew it for you. All you do is to walk in. He will dress you with his eye. So everybody has got thing that he will deploy to become successful. This guy I'm telling you has 2 houses in Abuja and 1 in Lagos through this. So it is very, very important you identify what you are good at and pursue your career towards that line, because sometimes it will match with career while you are doing your hobby and you are being paid. People like Tiger Woods and Davido do not do rehearsal to come and perform for you. That's their hobby. They just jump on the tray and the floor, and after which you pay them 5 million naira or $5 million, depending on where they are. So that's how I think about it. When your career and hobby and interest match, you're going to be successful.
When your career and hobby and interest match, you are going to be successful. With that, we have come to the end of this segment, and we are going to be opening the other side of they are not outside the arena, they are still inside the arena, but not on the hot seat. The participants, we are going to allow the participants to ask questions. So if we have a rule, if you have any question to ask, you hit the reaction button, and then we allow you to unmute, and then I can see Ugu Okechukwu. Ugu Okechukwu, can you unmute and ask your question? Okay, Chuku, can you ask? I think he's gone. We have AGK, man.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Fidelis AGK, man. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I wish to thank you very much for this nice lecture, and also particularly to give say a big thank you to the presenter. I'm sorry you lost your dad so early in life. Not sorry for you because you don't miss him anymore. I'm sorry for the grandchildren who would have loved to see him and played around with him. I know how valuable that is to me now and to my grandchildren. So I'm sorry about that. There's nothing you could do about it. And I'm also sorry that you were unemployed for 4 long years. That was enough to dissuade any human being from actually believing that there could be success again in life. So you overcame these two obstacles and then rose to the height at which you are today. So congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, congratulations. And I just wish you well. And I want you to continue to do well what you have done well so far. So, Jidekiji, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. We take Engineer Etta B. Engineer Etta B, can you unmute?
Yes,
all right.
Thank you very much for inviting me into this section. I mean, it was really insightful and inspiring. I mean, your biography and everything is really insightful and very inspiring. You know, I had planned to join this meeting, this arena, but along the line, I became very busy and it skipped my mind. So at the time I
Go straight
joined,
to the question, please.
Please, the question, if I may go directly to the question goes like, at the time you wanted to start your company, the equipment you don't have, how did you have to deal about it? I know that you tried to explain, but the network was have glitches in network. So when you wanted to start your company, at the time you want to leave your former company to your own company, when there was no, you don't have equipment, how were you able to bounce back or to manage the situation? That is basically my question.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you for the question. However, I will tell you something that's very, very key. It took me 3 to 4 months to sit down and decide. It's not only equipment you need other things. What do you need? What are the challenges to set up this business? How do you want to set it up and all that? Then I went to Ascension, a company. I paid them 1 million naira in 2009 to do what they call business proposal for me, which will excavate all my needs at the same time, have a business plan, which is a roadmap. Where am I going? How do I get there? What are the obstacles I will overcome on the road? So I identified skill. Who do I need to go with to get there? Identify resources, equipment, money, and all that. Then it became very clear to me what the challenges are, what I need to do to overcome it. I approached Halliburton in Nigeria to say, look, I have all this network. I can get this job, and you have the equipment. I have some equipment too. Can we collaborate and execute this job? You will take the revenue, according to the resources you bring on this project. And I will take based on my own as well. And luck will have it, we did the first job for Exxon in 2011. That's the first time I made $1 million in my lifetime. Yeah. And when we finished the job, I kept $5,000 on escrow account until I got a letter from Halliburton saying everything they deserve, I've paid them off based on our original agreement. So today it is still possible if you have the ethics like we talked before. When you and people do business, you stay according to the agreement and fulfill it. Maybe other ones will come, other references will come, other people will like to join based on hearing that you are somebody dependable to do business with. I haven't borrowed money from any bank since we started up to date. That's to show you it's a very great feat. Thank you.
Okay. We take Engineer Ugu Okechukwu.
Hello.
Okay,
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. I think he has gone off again.
Okay, we take Charity Adazion.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for that explicit explanation. Benosi, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. You're welcome, my chairman.
Okay, so mine is coming from, you told us of how you entered as an elect student in the university, and after your excursion, you switched over to oil and gas. And then you ended the session by saying that when your career and interest match, success is evident. Now, I want to ask, for somebody, for example, during our days, many of us entered into elect because it was, we felt it was easier in the engineering sector.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I read civil.
Yes.
So for somebody that's finished as an engineer, but finds out that the interest is towing more towards, how do I put it? I'm looking for the right word to coin, but finds out that his or her interest is towing more towards social sciences. How will the person be able to juggle the two together to ensure that one succeeds? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, madam. 2 occasions, my classmate was the head of computer science, computer systems in Boeing in America. He read chemical engineering in Uniport. Emeka Egbejimba. He's retired now. If you look at the former Minister of Commerce, Okay Ananama, he was a medical doctor, or he's still a medical doctor, but he came and went to Anderson to finish up as a chartered accountant. He owns Alliance Finance something today. So I am very, very strong on advocating that your interests take precedence than what even you read in school, because that was what will propel you to achieve what you want to achieve. I came into engineering, Faculty of Engineering, I told you, it's the man that built upstairs in my village that tricked me into that. I didn't even know what I was getting into. But when I got an excursion, they gave me buffet in ExxonMobil. I realized probably this is where the thing is, the promised land. That's how I ended up into petroleum engineering. I don't know if that have answered your question. It depends, you know, everybody's interest changes as situation changes. You may came from Aba. When you get to Lagos, what you wanted to do is to be a driver. You came down here and saw some people repairing phone. You became a phone repairer because that's the thing that's moving market at that point. So it will change depending on opportunities you see. Thank you.
Okay. We take Engineer Eleke Owo. I think, oh, sorry. I think we take before him Frank Ibi. Ibi Frank.
Okay. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
Hello? Sir, go on.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you for the presentation. My question is in respect of where we are now in the environment in terms of doing business with ease then and now. I didn't hear the presentation how you navigated through the times in terms of opportunities in government and then then and now. How did he survive and get through? Would you say it was okay then and now? I didn't hear him say much of that in the presentation.
Okay. If I will tell you, it's probably easier then than now. One is that they just started the local content law and they were asking all of us, kind of lobbying us to come and do things on your own as a Nigerian. Because when the local content law started, there is a lot of discussion about Nigerian company or indigenous company or something like that. But today, the whole story have moved from almost all of us are now Nigerian company or indigenous company. All of us, what is moved now to competence company. The IOCs are not going to give you a job now because you are a Nigerian company. No, they're going to give you a job if you have the competence to do what they're looking for. So it's becoming a bit tougher because the skill has increased. A lot of people have acquired that skill. So it's not, they're not going to lobby you or they're not going to give you concession to give you the job because you're a Nigerian company. They're going to give you concession if you have the right skill and competency to do the job. I don't know if that answered you. So things have changed, to be honest, like you rightly said. But the changes as a result of competency we are growing in Nigeria in a lot of fields.
I think we are going to take just these ones together so that we can wrap it up. After that, okay. Anybody that raises his hand, we'll take first. Please, I don't know who is nice, worry. Change the name to a known name. Then we take Tochukwu Obiekwe, and then take Ugu Okechukwu, and then Babagana Teller. I think Engineer Eleke is on. Can you talk, sir?
Yeah, presenter and my very good friend. It's a privilege to be with you in this meeting. First and foremost, I want to thank you for your prompting. Presently, I'm in UK and unavailable in Nigeria. I appreciate all you are doing in this arena. And then to my colleague who had just presented what I will term his memos. It's been interesting listening to him. Even though I came in about an hour later than scheduled, I've been able to gather few things from what he said. First of all, I just want to comment on his reaction when he said he's like somebody wanting to board a train. He's 60 and he doesn't know when the train will move. I want to tell him 60-something is still very young. Some of us are older and we are still counting and we are still aspiring. There are a lot of things to be done. You have done very well, but what has interested me in all you have said is I saw in you a man full of grace, integrity, vision on what you want to be and where you are coming from. It's been wonderful having you. And I want to encourage us to continue to, interact in this forum, because it gives you a lot of insights of what others are doing. And to all you have said, is very, very befitting. It raises my mind, because that is the kind of spirit that makes one to succeed in life. You believe in yourself, you believe in God, you pursue sincerity, integrity, knowing that what you do today will haunt you tomorrow. So I wish you the best in all you do in your days of life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Obidike.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Thank you so much for the presentation. I must say that in fact, it's an eye-opening. Thank you so much. I want to just a follow-up question, sir. When you talked about opportunities within the last, I think the last question before the contribution, where you made mention of, okay, possibly you've studied engineering, electrical engineering, and opportunities, may come in mechanical. My concern has always been, sir, how it affects our academic environment, the theoretical knowledge and the practical application. It's obvious that most times what is in the industry tends to differ from what is within the academics.
Yes.
So how were you able to, manage the skill sets? Because as young engineers, you are going into the industry. Some of us, okay, work in the ministries and all that. But how were you able to manage the skill set? Because sometimes you are coming out, you're looking for the jobs. They are saying 10 years experience. Most times you see yourself, you volunteered for several organizations as interns and all that. But it seems that those skill sets are not yet enough. So
Okay.
how are you able to, that is the first question, were you able to manage the skill sets you had as a young graduate, as it aligns to the industry? And
Okay.
secondly, how is it going to be
We
possible
will take
that...
one question, Tochukwu.
Okay,
Because
take
we are
one.
running out of time.
Yes,
okay,
we
thank
are
you, sir.
already there already. So let
Thank
me
you.
So
go straight to answer your question, Mr. Tochukwu. You know, what you learn in the university as an engineer is 2 skills. The analytical ability as an engineer, that's all you will get. And analytical ability and the condition say you have a certificate. Probably you have a certificate. They call you an engineer. When I started with master's degree in petroleum engineering, somebody that went to PTI in Warri taught me how to connect MPT and BSB connections in the field. So I started from ground zero to go up. But as I am going, I am putting in some basic principles, Boy's law, some physics and chemistry and all those things come to play on what I am seeing in the field. Engineering started from those basic principles of mathematics, physics, chemistry. Nothing have changed. It's just the higher applications you will see. And sometimes they do software that will even aid you. You start in Fortran program. Where is it application? Some of them will not come again. We were doing a lot of quadratic equation, dy dz. I have not seen it in the industry for 30 years. But being able to solve that from basic principle, what do we call first principle, generate those equations, gives you that resilience to find out the solution that will work. That's all you will get. I would think you still have to go back to the industry. The things you can do, you can fit in. You move on with that. That's all I think I can suggest to you, because everything is possible, but you need to find your roadmap. Thank you.
We take these two together. We take Ugu Okechukwu. Can you go on? Just make it brief. And then we take Baba Gana Teller. Then we call it a day.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
My question is very simple, but I would like to give two examples to back up my question. You are managing a pipeline company. In 2000, I think 2 years ago, the governor of Nasarawa State told us that while they are building Dangote refinery, they engaged 7,000 welders from India. I have my brother and my friend from neighboring town who works in Nigeria Gas Company, Warri. He told me that when they went to do integrity tests of the Ajokuta Kaduna Kanu power line, the pipeline connecting gas, there more than 70% of the welding done by a local firm, an indigenous firm, which I would not like to mention the name. 70% of their welding failed because those welding were done by Nigerian welders. My question, Senior, is there anything you are doing or your firm is doing, or what advice or what suggestion do you have so that Nigerian welders can measure up with Indian welders? We have a whole lot of welding jobs going on in Nigeria. But unfortunately, those welding jobs are done by Indian welders. Is there anything we can do to leverage on this local content law so that Nigerian welders could measure up with Indian welders? Thank you, sir.
No, thank you so much. Let's take the last one so that we take it
the
together.
last one. Baba Gana Teller.
Yes, thank you very much, Ben Osy. I wish to also thank the presenters on this timely and very inspiring topic and discussion in this arena. My own is I want to take the last statement. My question is like that. Is competent always breed confidence? Are you with me?
Yes.
Is competent always breed confidence? Because you mentioned issues of confidence, you mentioned issues of competence.
Yes.
So
do you want me to answer that? That's the question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. Competency can bring confidence if you have the resources to execute what you know. I know some professors of medicine who cannot practice well in Nigeria because they don't have the right environment, resources, equipment to execute that. That is one. If you have been trained and you are certified competent in something, you need the resources to execute it to that standard of competency. That is why you see a lot of Nigerians here who were doing very well in America. When they come down, it looks like the rain has fallen on them on the way. So that is that. Competency only cannot get you a good product. It shows the factors of production need to be in place for that to happen. That answers your question. Yes.
Okay.
On the wedding competency.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, on the wedding, again, is what we are talking about. I don't know why it fell. Is it that the people were not trained very well or they didn't have the right material? Sometimes wedding fell if the electrode they use in welding is not the right one for that material. It's another thing. I cannot stay here and tell you why it fell because I don't have the details. You need to find out why it fell. So we narrow it down to that. most of the competency has nothing to do with skin color or religion or where you come from. So a Nigerian welder trained in India will still perform probably better than the Indians or Filipinos or Americans or these ones. It depends on the level of training to have that competency. And the resources he will need to deploy that his training or his competency in the work. You know, if you get a very good driver who have driven like 20 something years and give him a bad car, he will not get to Ikorodu from where I'm staying, compared to the next driver who have not driven that much but have a very good car. As long as he doesn't damage it along the way, if he has he has been certified to say, yes, this man can drive, he will get to Shagamu better, quicker than the experienced driver. So competency is not on its own an isolated case. You have to look at other resources that need to be deployed for him to display that competency. I think that answers the question clearly.
All right, that is good. We have shot beyond our time, but it's good, it's interesting. And we want to sincerely thank you, Engineer Obidike, Nelkon, Ozu, for this beautiful time we have spent with you. I was trying to we have our Deputy President, immediate past President of Koren, who has been with us since we started. I was trying to get him to make some remarks before we wrap it up. If he can hear, he's in Ghana as we speak, but if he's busy, maybe we allow him to focus on the conference he's attending far away in Ghana, Engineer A.A. Rabiu. Now we have come to the very point where many of us are waiting. Hello? But before we do that, I want to first thank
He wants to talk.
Engineer Rabiu.
Yes.
Okay. I've asked for him to unmute. Okay. While I'm waiting for him to unmute, let me thank especially.
Sorry, Ben. I had a small glitch. Did you say anything about me saying a word or two?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
I'd like to take this opportunity to appreciate our guest for today. It's been a very exciting presentation on your life chronicles. And it's good to hear that while some of us are just planning to commission those who will assist us to put together our own chronicles, our book, you already have one, From Abba to Forbes. It's a wonderful thing. Like I always say, when I'm given the opportunity by Ben to say a word or two, I was the first to enter the arena when it started about 4 or so years ago. And he asked me a similar question, what the title of my book will be if I've not written it. And I told him it's going to be An Engineer Without Borders. And so I intend to commence the writing of this book soon. And maybe perhaps I will need the advice of our very distinguished engineer who is here today to tell me how to commence, so that I will present this Engineer Without Borders in a book form as I prepare to go to the train station, like he said. Finally, let me say I really enjoyed this. I'm in a conference right now in Accra, Ghana, but I had to join on the sidelines so that I don't miss this very interesting outing. And indeed, I have no regrets that I missed part of the conference that I came to do here, and I gained a lot from the arena today. So congratulations, Engineer Obidike, right? Engineer Obidike, congratulations for all that you have been able to do, not only in the oil and gas sector, but in the engineering profession generally. As you very well know, or if you don't know, I'm going to be the next president of the society, starting from January next year, and we will also need you to make your contributions to the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Thank you, Ben, for bringing great men like this to the arena. And I'm happy that many of them come, they enter, and they come out healthier than they entered.
Sure, thank you very much, sir.
Well done, thank you.
Now, let me see if I can lift this. This is the first, this is LG microwave oven. You can see how heavy it is. So the first winner will be going on with this LG microwave oven, and the second will be going home with this Fnse smartphone, and the third person will be going home with this standing fan. So these are the three prizes that we won today. So the first, and before I ask the question, I know once we announce this, many of our participants will leave. Let me thank all our senior engineers. I can't call all the names. I have seen so many of you who have been consistent in participating in this program. I want to say a very big thank you to you all and all the participants who have joined us today. Thank you, and God bless you for being steadfast and committed to this program. The first question we are going to ask is, please, if you send in an answer, do not edit. Anybody that edits, no matter what you send, once we notice that you have edited, we are going to disqualify you. And you are not going to send until we say go. The first question is, in what year did he graduate from Uniport? Go. Okay. We will take in the correct answer first, and then we will check those who have sent in the correct. So, in what year did you graduate from the University of Port Harcourt?
1989.
1989. So we go through the chat box to see the first person that sent in the correct answer. From my own end, I'm seeing Olawale Emiola. I don't know who you have from your own side, from the chat. Olawale Emiola, 1989. Then we have others. So if that is the correct one from the popular opinion, from what I'm seeing here, Emiola Olawale, please can you show us your face? Emiola, please can you show us can you show your video so we can see your face? Okay. All right. Okay, I've seen you. Can you unmute? I've asked you to unmute.
Okay, okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. You have won a microwave oven. Where are you based?
I'm in Lagos, sir.
In Lagos. Congratulations, all the way from Lagos. So you have to send somebody between now and Friday to pick up the prize for you. Congratulations. I think you've won a prize before.
Yes.
Yeah, congratulations. All right.
Thank you.
Now we go to the second question, and then the second question will be we'll use the first two. the person that answers first and the person that calls, so that we save time to now get the winners for the two. And we go this way. This is very simple. Okay. Uh, what year did he join the Nigerian Site of Engineers? Go. Okay. So what year did you join the Nigerian Site of Engineers? Hello, sir.
I joined the Nigerian Society of Engineers 15th of July 2007.
Okay, 2007 is the year. Then we have from my own side, I have Ruben Ufinabe. I think that is the first from my side. Somebody even got the the month and the so from my own end is Ruben. Ruben, can you show us? Then after Ruben, we have Oyekunle. So two of you, first, third, and the fourth. Ruben, please, can you show us your face? Okay. And then let me see Oyekunle. Okay. Okay, Ruben, please, can you unmute? And Oyekunle, can you unmute? Let me see your faces. Can you unmute your mic? I've asked you to unmute.
Good evening, sir.
Ruben first.
Okay.
Ruben, where are you? I can't hear you. Unmute your mic. Okay.
I am in Juse, Jigawa State, sir.
Oh, wow. So you've won this smartphone. Do you have any friend in Abuja?
Yes, I do. I do.
Okay, please, you send the person. You have my number?
I do, sir.
Okay, so send the person and then you authorize the person to pick it on your behalf. Congratulations.
Thank you very much,
And
sir. I'm
finally,
very grateful, sir.
where are you? Where did you join from?
From Calabar, sir.
When I don't do Abuja well this time, there used to be at least one person from Abuja. Okay, from Calabar. That's interesting. So we have Lagos, Duse, and the Calabar complete. So congratulations, you won a fan for yourself. So you send somebody that will pick it on your behalf.
Thank you, sir.
So on that note, we want to say a very big thank you to our guest, Engineer Obiuzu, for being our guest for today. We want to appreciate you and wish you. You say you have joined the train, but you are not, as Engineer always say, you are not stopping any soon. We want to continue to pray for you for all the great work you are doing, and God will sustain you and give you good health, long life, and protect you. And as you build capacity and continue to make the engineering profession or engineers in Nigeria proud. We are very proud of your achievements, and we pray that God will continue to keep you and uplift you for the great job you are doing. And also we pray that all our participants who have joined us today, who are aspiring to take that step to greater heights, that God will grant you that favor and that wisdom to move and accomplish all your dreams. Once again, I say a very big thank you to all the participants, and I wish you a very wonderful week. See you next month. It's going to be a very wonderful edition as we clock 40. That will be season 40. Thank you and God bless you. My name is Engineer Ben Osy Okoh. it's my pleasure to officially sign out for today's program.
Sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.